Hey everybody!
Hey
How's
guys!
it going? Kuroda here. Rachel's with me. Our child, the Metroid, is with us.
Yep, my best friend.
Today we're going to do something a little different. I'll let you take it from here. Go ahead.
You've done 20 questions videos in the past, but today, Kuroda here is the interviewee, and the questioner is me. What crazy questions did I come up with to ask him today? We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Right now.
20 questions with me. Well, 20 more questions.
Anything you want to say before we jump right into it?
I'm ready. Ready to be interviewed on my own channel.
Okay.
And it's no holds barred.
Yeah.
So who knows what kind of crazy questions she wrote down. I have no idea what she wrote.
Who knows?
Actually.
It might get real.
It might get real.
And if anyone has any questions for Rob that you'd like to ask belatedly, put them in the comments.
Put them down below, people, if you want to find out about me.
Anything.
Anything. If you want to know what my favorite... Beep. All right, that's enough. Go ahead.
Okay, number 1. If you could live in any video game world, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I've answered this before, I think.
Have you?
Yeah, but it would be Pokemon.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mario.
Nope, Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, of course Pokemon.
Pokemon is like the most, like...
Obviously.
Like, I don't know. It's a very delightful world, yeah.
You would live your childhood dream of being a Pokemon trainer.
Yes, I would be a Pokemon trainer. It would be really colorful. It would be, like, there wouldn't be a lot of bad things going on. There'd be some, but the good guys always win in Pokemon, you know?
Unless you're really bad at the video game.
Yeah, you can't, and the player, like, the trainer never gets a game over or anything like that. It's just, like, the Pokemon faint, and they go to the Pokemon Center.
True.
Maybe Animal Crossing would be kind of, like, a nice
G-rated.
place to live, you know? But I don't know. But Pokemon, yeah.
Good answer. I would choose Yoshi's Island. Not that I'm being interviewed right now, but
I'm an idiot. Yoshi's Island would be a close second.
This is your interview.
No, Yoshi's Island. I take it back.
I get it.
I take it back. Yoshi's Island.
Okay, number 2. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, both personally and regarding the channel?
We're very silly right now. I drugged Rachel, by the way.
Yeah, he did. He made us decaf coffee, and then we drank it, and then later he's like, "Pal, I have to tell you something. One of the scoops was caffeinated." And I was like, "You traitor!" Like, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm gonna be awake until the crack of dawn.
Her tolerance for caffeine is like, you know, she only eats a little bit.
Sensitive,
yes. All right, so the question again was...
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Both personally and regarding the channel.
All right, well, I'll answer personally first. Personally, I would like to still be doing the channel, so there you go. There's a nice little hybrid for you. Second, I just started school. I'd like to be hopefully finished with school, if not pursuing higher education by that point. And if I'm not pursuing higher education, I'd like to have a job in my field. And I'd still ideally be married to you.
Yay!
And we'd probably be living somewhere else is the other thing.
Not. Oops. Just
cut.
Beat that.
I cut that. I cut out where we live. And not where we currently live. It's such a silly interview.
Yeah, I'm in a weird mood now. Okay.
Oh,
and regarding the channel.
Yeah, regarding the channel. We're so giggly.
Okay. Regarding the channel.
Regarding the channel, I would like to still be doing the channel. In theory, I would have become a much better editor, much better at making good content.
And you'd be a YouTube sensation.
I'd be a YouTube sensation. In 5 years, it'd be nice to have 100,000 subscribers.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be like an amazing accomplishment. If not 100,000, like, it'd be cool to even just be over 1,000, you know? So
you'll get there.
Or even over 9,000. I don't know. So yeah, doing something like that, and then also just like I said, doing more projects. Like I talked about in my last vlog. Like I'd really like to do some more scripted films.
And
I
people like those.
Yeah, and not more scripted films. I'd like to do a scripted film that's like, you know, actually shot like something like Harry and the Golden Golf Clubs.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
video
like,
essay stuff too as well,
got it.
like my Super NES video.
That's what I was thinking.
Everything.
Your video essay stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to have a bunch of those done by that point and have my editing, where my editing is like fantastic. So this summer, kicking it into high gear, you guys.
It's gonna be great.
And just having a lot more content in general. So
we all look forward to that.
We do.
Okay. Number 3. With which video game character do you most identify?
That's a good one.
Isn't it?
That's a really good one.
And why, of course, is
and
the
why,
applied
yeah,
question.
yeah. Why? Which character do I identify with and why? Let's think here. I I always identified a lot with Luigi.
I get that.
Luigi kind of like...
Not Waluigi? Okay.
Oh, man.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Not the character that I look most like. Apparently, I look like Waluigi.
Anyway.
The character I most identify with would be Luigi, because he's kind of... Like, here's the thing with Luigi. He's kind of cowardly. He's not super confident in himself, but he's still brave when the time comes. And he still does... Like, he's overshadowed often by Mario, and he often, like... And
he's likable.
He's very... Well, thank you for that, but, you know...
You're welcome.
I don't know. I just thought I always identify with Luigi. He's always kind of like the second banana, you know? And, you know, sometimes... I'm not always the second banana, but sometimes I've always felt more in the shadows rather than out front. And
you're not an
it's attention-grabbing
you know? person.
Yeah. I would definitely identify with Luigi. And he's very jittery and clearly suffers from some level of anxiety. So.
Yeah, he probably has some undiagnosed anxiety disorder,
probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say... here's some of the tainted decaf coffee, by the way. You guys can see it.
Decaf.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say Luigi.
Cool. Number 4.
Good question, by the way.
Who was your childhood inspiration? Who is your present day inspiration?
Childhood inspiration.
I'm going there. Asking the tough questions.
I don't think... I always kind of found people that I didn't really know in real life more inspirational than people that I knew, which is... I know some people are different. Like, some people are like, I find my dad to be my inspiration and stuff like that. Never really was, like, the case for me too much. I always was, like, inspired by, like, a lot of people who were, like a character like Luigi was inspirational as a kid.
You can count your teen years as well. I'd say, like, just formative
teen years, I found a lot of musicians inspirational. And not even just because of their music and, like, at the time kind of wanting to be a musician. There was a lot of, like, if I got really into a band, like Pink Floyd, for example, I'd, like, really, really research the band and the people involved. And I always found a lot of musicians really inspirational, you know. Like a guy like Dio, you know. I mean, I really, really respected a lot of, like, his worldview. And the guys in Rush I find really inspirational because they're such humble guys and they're such masters at their craft. And, like, a guy like Neil Peart, he is considered the greatest drummer of all time. And he still, in the 90s, was like, I could be doing better. I'm going to completely relearn how to do the drums. And he did it. And it's like, that's crazy to me that a guy of that ability and that caliber of, you know, musician would go and just, like, and decide, hey, I could do better, you know, and it shows a lot about his character.
Yeah,
you know?
What I find inspirational about Rush is that they are level-headed despite being in an industry and being so successful that they so easily could have gone off the rails like so many other musicians.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, Rush, like I've told you before, I'm not a huge lyrics guy with music, but I really identify with a lot of Rush's lyrics, especially when I was, you know, late teens, early 20s. I mean, I would consider that sort of as, like, childhood in a sense. Yeah. Like, the tail end of childhood.
You're still, like, maturing.
It was still during my more developmental years. I found a lot of the things that Rush were saying in their music. And the fact that, like, the people who they were matched the lyrics, and the way they lived their lives and the way that they pursue, the way they, like, conducted themselves as people and in their career, always kind of having integrity in their music. I always found that really inspirational.
You know what's kind of funny? I'm sorry to cut you off, but for those who don't know, Rob used to write quite a bit, and, like, I think the things you wrote were somewhat reminiscent of, like, Rush and Dio, like, both, you know?
Yeah, I like a lot with lyrics, I like a lot of, like, I love like, for example, I love the Beatles, and they wrote, like, 90% love songs, and I think the Beatles are probably one of the greatest bands in the world. But with lyrics, I really appreciate stuff like what Rush does, or what, like, Dio did,
very,
or
like, philosophical,
like or like Yes, or somebody like that, like some deeper meaning philosophical lyrics. I like the nerdy part of me likes fantasy driven lyrics, a lot of, like, Uriah Heep type stuff,
and Dio
and all that stuff. So I don't know, I always like kind of deeper imagery and deeper philosophical themes and stuff, but Rush was a big one. Another inspiration for me was Zappa. Yeah, these days I'll look back and I'm like, he's kind of a prickly, you know, cynical guy, but when I was growing up, like, his whole questioning everything, like philosophy of questioning things and kind of being against, establishment and authority.
I could see why
was really important for me when I was a kid. And I loved that he was such a weird guy, and he was so clearly not, he was so much different than any other artist of the time that I liked, that I always identified with people who were just so different and so weird. So for me, musicians were like a huge inspiration, not just for their musical ability, but for who they were as people.
And what about present day?
Present day, now it's probably a little less so. I mean, when you're a kid, you love, you look up to, people like musicians, or some people look up to movie stars, or some people look up to blah, 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 which, I think can be good depending on who. I mean, maybe this is a bias here, but I think it can be good depending on who it is and the values. Like, I don't necessarily think like looking up to Kim Kardashian is a good thing.
Sorry, all you people who
Sorry, it's judgmental, but I mean, there's a difference between a person like Kim Kardashian and a guy like Ian Anderson or something.
It's funny because I said sorry people who do, but I'm pretty sure anyone who does would probably not be watching this video.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. But or even, you could look up to Iron Man. At least that's, or somebody like that. I don't know. But the point is like these days I look up to people now. Actually, rather than people, I look up to more of qualities of people than I do people themselves.
Hold that thought.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. To be continued. So go ahead.
Okay, next. Number 5. What one change would make the world a better place?
Wow. If there was no more war.
Good one.
If we all just decided one day, we were just like, hey, we're not going to fight and kill each other anymore. We'll disagree. We can even have all the, like, I don't usually like to get political, and I'm not going to get super political, but if we could all just agree not to kill each other, I think that'd make a huge difference.
That's a big plus.
That's a pretty big deal. I don't care if people are shouting each other down in the streets. If you're not killing one another, that's fantastic. That's totally fine.
Good one.
That's the big one.
If you could design a Mario game, what would it be like?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Isn't it?
I like that. Okay. Let's think here. So, alright, this is going to seem like a weird example because I've complained about this game a ton. But if you could do what Super Paper Mario attempted to do, but well...
Or what about, Color Splash?
Yeah, okay,
as an RPG.
Yeah, like, okay, so if you had a game like Color Splash or Super Paper Mario, but you actually retain the RPG elements, that would be really awesome.
That'd be great, yeah.
Like, what I like about Color Splash... So what I like about Color Splash is the puzzle solving and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's really fun. Like, remember, like, I don't know how many of you guys have played Paper Mario Color Splash. It's a really fantastic game. It's underrated. The battle system sucks. Let's just say that.
And the world is really cool,
But the world is great. The story's great. The dialogue is hilarious. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm. It's just the battle system.
Yeah, but I think if you combined the, like, sort of puzzle solving and whatnot of Color Splash, and also the side, like, maybe some of the platforming and side-scrolling elements of Super Paper Mario, but you retain the RPG elements. Like, instead of, like, in Super Paper Mario, when you jump on an enemy, it gives them damage, and they, like, either die or, you have to hit them again. But instead, it just activates a battle, just like in Paper Mario. And if you had that, but then you did it in the world of Super Mario RPG, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. But also incorporate other characters that have since been, like...
And Gino would be in it.
Yeah, Gino, but like a character like Rosalina would, like Rosalina and Gino could work together because they're both celestial beings, and you could have like Wario and Waluigi in it. That's another thing. In a Mario game, if you ever notice, there's never really been like a mainline adventure that incorporated all the main characters, like not just Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Peach, and all those, but like Daisy, Waluigi, Wario, all the Koopalings. Like, it'd be cool to have all those characters in one epic, like, game like that. So, just a couple ideas. So,
nice.
That was a great question. I love that question. Yeah.
What are you most proud of in life? Question number 7.
My marriage is one. More cringiness, you guys.
Oh,
my marriage, and the fact that we have a really good relationship. I've had to work. I feel like we both worked pretty hard on it, but we're also just compatible, which is nice. But I'm also proud of, like, I had like, someday I'll do a Let's Get Real about this, you guys. But I had a really rough go, like from my teens to my I'd say mid-20s, and I dealt with a lot of struggles, like being poor for a while, and certain mental health struggles and stuff like that for sure. But I feel like in the last few years I've really come around, and I've become a lot better at like being confident in myself and not avoiding situations and being like willing to try new things and actually accomplishing the goals I set.
You've grown.
I think I've kind of grown as a person. I'm proud of those accomplishments.
You should be.
I am, yeah. And it goes to show you guys that money and like careerism and all that stuff. I mean, I'm a freaking janitor at the local, county office building here, and it's like I think I've accomplished a ton in my life. I'm pretty happy with it. So it goes to show you that money and career, they only matter as much as you make them matter. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
there's so many other.
That's a way of accomplishing something, but it's only one facet of life.
Yeah, it's one dimension of life. So if there's any of you guys who are like my age or younger and you're thinking, oh, like I don't know what to do, or like I'm never going to make it in a career, blah, 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 blah. There's just so much more to life than that. So for me, I would say that, that's like the personal things that I've overcome are probably the things I'm most proud of. Thank you.
All right.
Good question, by the way. She's a good interviewer.
Oh, thanks.
You can interview people now for the next 20 questions.
All right. Okay, number 9. In what ways have video games enhanced your life? And I feel like you've spoken to this somewhat, but if you could give a succinct summary.
Video games have... So there's a few things, like the 2 things that have been tremendously influential in my life, and we touched on one aspect of it just before, are music and video games. But video games were my first love, really, if you don't count Dinos. But
your second love.
Video games were really my first love in terms of like just something that I was passionate about.
I'm gonna tell the Dinos, the Dino action figures downstairs.
Don't tell them. But you know what I'm saying. But no, they were. I mean, video games. Video games, first of all, they were a way that I could escape when I was a kid, and I loved that because I was always a shy, quiet, introverted guy or kid, and I always found that video games, much like music, never really let me down, and it was always a great way to just kind of immerse myself in my own little world and let my imagination run wild, and it was always just like a wonderful way to pass the time, because I would get like really immersed in the world themselves, not even just the games, and the characters and the stories. And so for me, video games, I mean, they were a huge drive for me, like when we got our computer, to make my first website, and that's when I first met you, actually, and James, or like also known as Bacon Mob, and Yoshi King as well, and a few others, and your late brother and everybody. And I mean, video games, because of doing that, I am married to you. So, I mean, I kind of have Nintendo games to thank for that, which is kind of crazy to think about. But not just that, like, they've also cultivated relationships with other people in my life. They've given me passion to do, for example, this channel, something that I'm really proud of. And they also helped shape certain ways that I look at the world, and certain, like, different stories and games, like we were talking about. I won't go elaborately in this because you had to sit through this during Drunken Mario Golf, but like Final Fantasy VII, the story.
Yeah, it made you think about certain things.
It's also just topical because I'm playing it on the channel. Or all kinds of stuff. Like, video games were just a really great way for me to express myself, to be imaginative in all those things that I just answered. So, and most importantly, they've allowed me to really connect with certain people. And they also made me feel like I was part of, in a way, a community, because when it's like this with music too. When you find somebody who likes similar things to you, there's an instant camaraderie.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you're all of a sudden you're speaking a language that people who aren't, say, into games or aren't into a certain band don't really understand. It sounds like you're talking gibberish to them. So it's kind of cool.
I think you may have answered that in a previous one.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that.
That's okay. It's cool. I can always expand upon ideas.
Okay, number 9.
My hair's naughty. Sorry, you guys.
What qualities do you look for in friends?
Easy. Trust is number 1. Honesty is number 2, which goes along with trust. Number 3, I like down-to-earth people. I like fun people.
Mm-hmm.
I like people who have a good sense of humor. I don't like people who are super uptight. I like people who are non-judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
And I like people who are, I don't know, just fun to hang out with. It's pretty simple. If I feel like you're a good person, I'll give you a chance, you know? And that's about it. And then there is just certain people that you may have a million things in common with them, and they are good people, but you don't have a certain chemistry with, which is definitely a thing. So I think chemistry has a little bit to do with it, but I think, you know, having those basic foundational things for me, mutual respect, all those things, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of why asked you to hold the thought earlier, because I feel like it was kind of, that's about like what qualities you find inspirational and look for in other people.
Right, going back to that question, those are also the same things that I would find inspirational in people, those qualities. So yeah, I like that.
Cool.
And I also find really resilient people to be very such as yourself.
To
be very inspiring, you know. I really do.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. And a lot of you too. There you go.
All right. Number 10. Who is your fantasy crush? Movies, TV, video games, etc.
Oh man, my wife is asking me this question. All right. My fantasy crush, movie, TV. Well, aside from Daisy.
Like a fictional character.
Aside from
I didn't even think of Daisy.
Daisy.
I didn't even think of Daisy.
I don't know. I don't have like really hardcore fantasy crushes. I like nerds, so like here's my top 3 video game crushes would probably be, in no order, Daisy. Although it's more of a meme than anything, to be honest. It's more of a meme. But like I'd definitely be really into Samus, you know.
I thought you might
say
Samus.
And Luca from Chrono Trigger, because she's a badass and she's a nerd.
And you say she reminds that I remind you of her.
Yeah,
I'm flattered.
If we ever do a Chrono Trigger cosplay, you have to be Luca. Like you have no choice. But she's pretty awesome character. Do I want to do it? No, but she's an awesome character.
She's all right. I liked her. She's good.
Do you want me to do like non-video games or?
Do whatever. I mean, it's up to you.
All right,
do you have any others that come to mind?
Musicians, I really like. I really think Richie Blackmore's wife's hot.
Yeah, you said
Candace Knight. I don't know.
Insert a picture over here now.
She always wears like there's a picture somewhere here, but she always wears like medieval dresses and stuff, and I like stuff like that. It's cool. I don't know. I can't think of anybody else, to be honest.
That's good enough. Yeah. That's good enough. Number 11. Who would you most like to meet, living or dead, and what would you say to them? All
right, I mentioned this person. Actually, I have I think a top 3. Yeah. I'd love to meet George Carlin.
Ooh, I didn't think
I
you were
would love to meet George Carlin. That guy was a friggin' genius. I'd love to meet Frank Zappa. They're both dead, as far as musicians go. And I think I'd also like to meet Ronnie James Dio.
And what would you ask them? Let me guess, if you met Dio, you'd be like, will you adopt me?
Yeah, will you be my dad?
Yeah.
I think I'd ask Dio, well, first of all, he's from a town very close to here, so I'd ask him what growing up in that town is like, because it's kind of strange.
He'd be like, depressing.
Yeah, he'd probably be like, depressing. That's why I moved to L.A. No, if I met Zappa, I would just ask him a bunch of stuff about politics, to be honest. And I'd probably ask him a lot of musical things, too. I don't know. If I met George Carlin's a guy I'd want to, like, either smoke a joint with or drink some beers and just, like, just talk, because he would be hilarious to be around, you know? He'd be a hilarious man.
On. Like, who knows?
Yeah,
like,
who knows? I don't know. I just think he would have been really hilarious to be around, so I don't know what I'd ask them, you know?
George Carlin's a good one. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, George Carlin would be easy. I'd actually want the 3 of those guys in the same room, and we'd all just be hanging out talking, you know?
I like it. Okay, what do you think of the Star Wars Star Trek rivalry? What do you like about each one?
That is a random question.
Isn't it?
I think the Star Wars Star Trek rivalry's fun, but kind of silly because they're 2 totally different things.
I agree.
And I'm not at one time I would have been like Star Wars all the way, not anymore. I think they're both great for different reasons. I love Star Trek, and I really love Star Wars, so I don't know. It's fun, you know. People want to like debate about it. That's cool, but I think it's really hard to objectively compare them. First of all, you have like, I mean, if you're counting the entire Star Trek franchise, it's massive compared to the Star Wars franchise.
Right, but the Star Wars franchise has like a ton of novels as well.
It has novels and stuff, but a lot of like those novels aren't even
TV
canon
shows
anymore.
And stuff, yeah.
You know, but I'm just saying in terms of like media, Star Trek has Star Wars beat, I think. But they're both fun, you know. I recall there was somebody famous that was asked about this. I think it was actually Bill Nye. I think it was asked this, and somebody asked him like, "What do you like, Star Wars or Star Trek better?" And he said, "I like both, but he said I kind of prefer Star Trek because Star Trek is more science based, which I kind of think that's a good point. It's a bit more based in reality, whereas like the Force is sort of this like magic in a way that the characters in Star Wars just can tap into, whereas Star Trek is based on like physics and all kinds of stuff."
Well,
so,
I think I remember you saying that once to me, and I think my response to things like that usually is that I think Star Trek is more actually sci-fi, and Star Wars is more fantasy in space.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's actually very true. But I mean, there's certain characters like you can't even say what characters are more iconic, because you have like Darth Vader, you have Chewbacca, you have Yoda,
iconic.
But then you have like Spock, you have Kirk, you have Picard. You know, you have so many. I don't know. I love them both. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep, that was a random question.
I'm a nerd. That was really good.
What would you say to Rob at age 20 if you could? What about Rob at age 40?
That was really good. You seem very pleased with your questions. You guys notice she asks a question, she just like gets this big grin.
Like, yeah.
I don't know.
I put some thought into these.
What do you think? Did you help? Anyway, alright. Sorry, the Metroid, he's a quiet guy. Or she, or the gelatinous blob. Yeah.
Anywho.
It prefers the term gelatinous blob, isn't that right? Anyway, okay. So the question was, sorry, what would I say to 20-year-old Rob and 40-year-old Rob?
Yes.
Okay, 20-year-old Rob, I would say, first of all, stop worrying about what other people think. Number 2, stop smoking. It's really bad for you and really stupid.
Oh, I think we've discussed this before, but I don't think it was on the channel.
No, we might not have. Number 3, start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, if you'd done that a long time ago, who knows where you'd be
Number
now.
4, go back to college, you dummy, and finish it. Number 5, things are going to get better. Things are going to get a lot better.
Yay!
So just roll with the punches. It's okay.
That's nice. And
yeah, probably some other stuff too, which I won't get into. But I think that's all good stuff.
what about 40-year-old Rob?
40-year-old Rob, I'll say, well, that's hard. I'll be like, well, I hope you're happy. I hope you're still married. I hope you're still doing YouTube. I hope you...
if YouTube even exists.
Yeah, if YouTube even exists. I hope that the world is... You find that your worldview is a lot better, which I think it is. My worldview is better nowadays than it was when I was very cynical and very dark at one time. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say, know what you'd ask your future self. I guess I would be like, so, what was the last 10 years like? And,
You'd want to ask that person.
Is there anything that I should maybe be doing that would improve my health or something? Or is there some, like, maybe I got hit by a car at age 37 and I'm paralyzed from the waist down. If that's the case, then how do I avoid that? You know? So I don't know. It's easier to in retrospect to look back and kind of give yourself advice rather than looking in the future and being like, you know, I don't even know what I'm going to see, you know, so.
You know, it'd be an interesting exercise. My friends and I, 8 years ago, all made a time capsule. Sorry, no, this is your interview. It's just a
go ahead,
brief detour story. We made a time capsule and we all put things in there, and I wrote a letter to myself 10 years in the future, and it was all like about my hopes and dreams and stuff. And in 2021, we're gonna go dig it up and look at it, and I can't wait to see what I had written.
Wow, yeah, that's coming up in two years. Yeah,
I feel like it'll be kind of entertaining in some ways, and it'll probably be interesting to see how all the things that I thought I was gonna do or wanted to do are different.
We should do that too. We should
a 10-year time capsule.
Yeah, but I don't know if we should bury it anywhere because we'll move like once or twice.
We could just hang on to it.
Yeah, we just hang on to it.
But anyway, I'm really interested, and I feel like that's kind of a cool exercise to look back on years later. It's like a snapshot in time. You know?
I want to be there when you read that. That'll be awesome.
All right.
Cool.
All right, next. Where are we here? What has been the single best thing about having a YouTube channel?
That's a great question. The single best thing about having a YouTube channel, and me, I always respond with like a million answers. But I'll try
The single best thing, yeah.
The single best thing...
Here's many things.
The single best thing is, and this isn't a cliche, I'm trying not to be cliche here, it's you guys. It really is you guys. I mean, like, it's great. Like, I'm sure some of you can relate to this. Like, if any of you have tried a YouTube channel and failed, or if you're not having success in your channel, no judgment or anything like that, because it can change. But if you're trying to just, like, if you're just shooting in the dark and you're doing something and nobody's paying attention to it, it sucks. Mm-hmm. If you're actually doing something and you're seeing it slowly grow, that's fantastic. Like, that's an amazing feeling. And that wouldn't happen without you guys. Like, I'm not even joking. I mean, I know I'm not a large YouTube channel by any stretch of the imagination, you know, but I mean, I get consistent views. There's not a single video on this channel that has no views. And all of my views now average, like, you know, I don't know, 30 views, something like that.
It depends. The live streams are a lot more.
The live streams always get a good turnout. There's never a point where there's nobody at the live streams.
And they're always really fun.
They're always really fun. I mean, we have the Discord. If you guys, again, to shamelessly plug, if you haven't, check out my Discord. It's down below. You know, there's that. We built a community that way. I've had a few of you guys, without mentioning any names or anything like that, I've had a few of you guys come to me with personal things and, like, ask for advice and stuff like that. That's great. I love doing that. You know, I really do. I mean, it makes me feel like I'm making a difference.
Yay.
And that, like, that's a great, like, even, like, people think, like, oh, well, you know, you're not really successful unless you have, like, many hundreds of thousands or millions of views and subscribers and all that stuff. That's not true.
How do you define success?
Yeah,
really?
Again, how do you define success? Like, we have a small knit community. I enjoy, you know, interacting with each and every one of you. You know, we've had our ups and downs. We've had people come and go. We have people who will, like, pop up out of nowhere, you know. Sam, for example, if you watch this, or a few other things. But, like, overall, I've got an audience, and it feels really good to have an audience, and it feels like I have people listening to me and people who care about what I have to say, and it's a great feeling. It's
nice.
It's you guys. You guys are the reason why I go so hard doing all this stuff, so we'll see. You know, we'll see how it goes.
It's been fun.
Hopefully it keeps growing.
It's been very fun. All right. Number 15. What is the best game you've played in the past 3 years? And I'm talking games you've played for the first time, not like Super Mario World, which you played in the last 3 years.
In the past 3 years, so that would be 2016. So I guess Splatoon doesn't count because
nope, because that was earlier than that.
That was 2015. The best game I've played in the last few years. That's a really good question. I got to think about that one.
I did it.
You did it. Man, that's a really good question.
You're welcome.
I'll try to go with a newer game because there's games I played that are older games that I finally played within the last couple years. Super Mario Odyssey was pretty great.
Yeah, it was a
I
good
really
game.
loved Super Mario Odyssey. That was a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could say something like Banjo-Kazooie. I really like Banjo-Kazooie.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple other things. I'm going to go with Mario Odyssey just because it's what I can think of. It's a great game. Really, really great game.
Sorry, everybody. That was quite the yawn.
No worries, no worries.
Okay. What is the secret to maintaining a great marriage?
I think you'd have to answer that question. What have I been doing right, you know?
This is your interview and your opinion.
All right.
Or relationship. Doesn't have to be marriage.
All right. So for some advice, and this doesn't even have to really apply to just a romantic relationship. It could apply to really anything. Respecting one another. Listening to one another. Communicating with one another effectively. So basically, listen, and that involves listening, by the way. So, like, listening, not being judgmental, showing empathy, and really feeling empathy, not just showing it. You don't want to be, you don't want to come across as, like, fake, you know.
Well,
you want to genuinely
see through that.
Yeah, you want to genuinely be, you want to genuinely care about the person, I would think, wouldn't you?
Of course.
And then, I don't know, like I said, having fun, like all that stuff, trust, all those things that I mentioned before about qualities that I like in people are all those all those things. And then, like, in a romantic relationship, being, like, loving and, you know, telling your partner how much you appreciate them, how much you love them, make them feel really loved, you know. Be there for them. Don't be selfish, you know. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't be apathetic to their, which is same as trying to use empathy, but also trying not to be apathetic towards their issues, and using empathy and all those things. Mm-hmm. I feel like sometimes when I talk about this stuff, it's common sense stuff, but a lot of people, it's hard for some people to do in practice, you know? Yeah. I think making a conscious effort is the big thing.
Also, I think you have to pick the right partner.
That is a good point.
Because you can do those things as much as you want, but somebody has to be on the same page as you.
That is absolutely true, actually, yeah. Picking the right partner. Because some people just aren't compatible. Yep. You know, there's people I couldn't just make this work with anybody, you know.
It had to be someone very special.
She's a rare gem.
Don't you love how that was like a slightly arrogant question to ask?
No worries.
What makes us so great? Anywho.
Answer in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Anyway, go ahead.
I thought listening was a good relationship quality.
Oh, whoops.
Anywho. Would you be a crew member on the USS Enterprise if you could?
I'd like to say I would, but I'm also terrified of the idea of going into space, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Hanging out with Spock.
I'd love to
seeing the universe versus like potentially dying.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think I would, but I also realistically think like if somebody knocked on the door right now and was like, "You want to go into space?" I'd be like, "Go away."
Oh hell no.
Yeah, no thank you. That's terrifying. So probably not.
So you wouldn't boldly go. What if McCoy was like part of the crew?
Well, of course he'd be part of the crew. That'd be tough, you know? Here's what I would do. I would like to, if they flew over Earth, I'd love to be beamed up. And I'd like to, like, hang out for maybe, like, a few hours and just, like, check out the bridge and, like, talk to everybody. And then be like, okay, you can beam me down now, you know? But then you have to, like, deal with that whole psychological thing. It's like, well, technically when I get beamed, I die and then reincarnate. Which is kind of weird, you know? Kind of a weird thought, you know?
Yeah. It'd be cool if during your time you encountered, like, the evil Enterprise and there was an evil version of you.
I could have a goatee, like, yeah.
I wonder if I joined the crew, how long it would be before Kirk hit on me, you know?
It would be like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Anyway.
And you'd be delighted.
Yeah,
but you'd be more into Spock. You'd be more into Spock.
I know, but he wouldn't be into me. I'd be the Christine Chapel of the show.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Anywho.
Maybe McCoy would hit on you. Come on. That's some good...
I would want to do it, but I wouldn't want to make you jealous.
Are you kidding me?
You'd have your blessing?
You have my blessing, yeah. As long as it's a threesome.
Nerds.
Anyway, shall we?
Okay, what is your dream concert?
Okay.
Like any time, any location.
Can I make one up?
Sure.
A festival. Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to do like a real concert that happened.
Alright, a real concert that happened. Okay, let's do that.
Because if you're going to do a festival, you're going to be like, Rush, Pink Floyd in their prime, etc.
Okay, a real festival that happened, the Isle of Wight Festival.
Ooh.
The year that it was like Jimi Hendrix, Jethro Tull, I think the Doors were there, Emerson, Lake and Palmer were there. There was like, just look up Isle of Wight 1970 maybe?
Jethro Tull was great at that.
Yeah, they were amazing. That was like right before Aqualung. Moody Blues were there, yeah. The whatever festival, whichever year that was that those guys performed. It was like 70, 71 maybe. That would have been amazing, a real life one. If I could make my own bill, I would have to go... Let's think here. If I can make my own bill, let's just say 5 bands. Okay.
Because otherwise you would just list every band.
Maybe I'd make it a prog festival. And I'd have it go... Who would open? I'd have Yes open. Then Tull would go on. No, then King Crimson would go on. Then Tull. Then Rush. Then Pink Floyd would end the concert.
Nice.
That'd be great. And Pink Floyd, like it would be kind of like a festival at night. So let's think here. So Yes would be cool because Yes could like start playing like maybe in the late afternoon when the sun starts setting.
Oh yes, it would.
Yeah, and then Jethro Tull could come on, And then when it gets really full dark and the moon's out, King Crimson could come on with that dark, heavy music.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd have Rush, and then you'd have Pink Floyd. And
Nice.
Pink Floyd like could play like they'd all play all night, and then like when the sun starts rising and it's dawn, you'd be playing like Dark Side of the Moon or something.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be pretty awesome.
I like it.
There you go.
I just want to answer this even though it's not my interview.
Go ahead.
I would have gone to Neil Young's Live at Massey Hall concert in like 1970 or 71.
That would have been cool too.
What a good performance. It's like all his hits from like the folk era.
Cool.
Good times.
If you guys don't
Well,
know
they're gonna
some
give
of
you a
these
high five.
musicians, like look into some of this stuff. It's great.
Do indeed. Okay. What one skill or talent would you acquire if you could do so effortlessly?
I'd be a musician.
Of what instrument?
Multi-instrumentalist.
What would be your main instrument?
Guitar.
Nice.
I'd like to be proficient at guitar, bass, flute, keyboard / piano, and maybe something crazy like a trombone or something. Or drums or something like that, yeah. It'd be cool to be able to pick up an instrument and grasp it very quickly.
Cool. To be a Paul McCartney.
Yeah, be a Paul McCartney. Or actually, really more so George Harrison. George Harrison could play like 27 instruments or something like that.
Huh?
Yeah, George Harrison was crazy good. Yeah. Or John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones was like that, yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, final question.
What? We're getting through this
Time
already?
flies when you're having fun.
What? Huh? Alright, sorry.
Please tell me why a Home Improvement reference. Okay, what is the cutest Pokemon?
That was a good question, but
also, which one is most like you? Okay, go on.
What's the cutest Pokemon? Let me answer this first.
And what were you about to say?
I'll tell you in a second. The cutest Pokemon is... This is tough.
I know.
What is the
so many hundreds
What
to
is the
choose from.
cutest Pokemon? I'm looking around here. What is the... I mean, Bulbasaur is pretty cute.
But is he the cutest?
No, I don't think he's the cutest. Oh, Archon.
Archon?
Yeah. I'll show you a picture of it.
What about Dugong?
Dugong's pretty cool.
What about Sveal?
Alright, hold on. I'm going to cut this out.
Okay.
I'm going to jump cut, and she's going to see a picture of Archon.
Okay.
And I'll put it up here.
He's happy. Look
Yep.
how vacant he looks.
He's so great.
He's pretty cute.
Yeah. We're back, whatever. Yeah, he's great. He's one of those
cute.
characters that... He's like a derpy looking bird.
Yeah, he
and
looks
I think
so vacant.
I think he's really adorable.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
Like somebody sucked his brain out. He's like,
Yeah. I had an Archon, and then it like evolves into an even weirder thing. I forget the name of its evolved form, but yeah.
So that's the cutest one. And which one is the most like you? And also, what were you gonna say earlier?
I'll tell you in a second.
That's what you said.
I'll tell you. I know, but
ago.
let me finish this question,
Okay.
and then we'll get into it.
Let me finish.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
right. What Pokemon is most like me? Charmander.
Because
From the anime.
from the anime.
Yep. Because Charmander gets abandoned by his trainer,
Aw.
and he waits on a log for his trainer, and Ash and company for all you guys who've seen the episode, it's classic, but I'm explaining it to you. So Ash and company pass by it, and they're like, "Come on, Charmander, come off the log," and he won't leave the log or the rock or something. And they go to a Pokemon Center nearby, and they hear this douchebag trainer like bragging about how his Charmander was weak. And he abandoned it, and he's like, "Oh, the Charmander's so stupid. I told him to wait on the rock or the log or whatever it is." And he's like, "I'm not gonna come get it. He's such a weak Pokemon. Blah 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 blah." Right? So this poor little Charmander waits in the pouring rain.
That's heartbreaking.
For this stupid trainer to come by, and then Ash flips out on the guy, and he runs back outside. And for those of you who don't know, which I think all of you do, but you don't know this. If a Charmander's flame goes out on its tail, it dies.
Oh my God.
So it's in a pouring rainstorm.
Oh my God, no.
So, yeah, we gotta watch this episode, yeah.
This is giving me anxiety here.
So basically, Ash runs off and grabs the Charmander and basically saves it within an inch of its life.
And you identify with this Charmander.
Yeah, and then so the Charmander ends up I think it beats Team Rocket because they show up or whatever, and he I haven't seen this episode in years, so I'm sorry if I butcher this guy. So then the Charmander basically like defeats Team Rocket, or he saves Ash or something. And so like its old trainer sees this, and the old trainer's like, "Wow, Charmander, I didn't know you were so like strong or whatever." And he's like, "Get back in the Pokeball," or something. Like he wants to keep him then. And the Charmander just like breathes fire at the trainer, and the guy's like, "Ah!" And he runs away, and then he decides to be with Ash.
It's about overcoming adversity and having somebody who believes in you.
Yeah, that's why do you think I don't have a Charmander? Oh, Charmander's over there. But yeah, Charmander. And plus, I love Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard.
And what were you gonna say to me?
We should watch that episode, by the way.
Maybe.
Is there a bonus question? Because I always ask a bonus question.
I didn't have one.
And if not, there was not a dino-related question.
Okay, here's my...
That's what I was going to say.
Here's my bonus question.
Okay.
I tried to make them really diverse and cover a variety of things.
You did. The Pokemon one was really good.
Yep. Okay. Bonus question.
What about you, Metroid?
Which dinosaur would you want to be eaten by if you were to be eaten by a dinosaur?
I wouldn't want to be eaten by any dinosaur.
That's not an option in this question.
Okay, so I'll tell you, I'm going to answer this, or I'm going to do two, like, I'm going to answer this question, but also answer, like, the opposite of this question. So if I may, the dinosaur that I would not want to be eaten by would be, and I'm going off of the Jurassic Park movies. If anybody ever saw The Lost World, which is probably my favorite of the whole franchise, there's a scene where this dude goes, like, out into the woods to take a piss, and the little Compsognathuses...
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
Like, start chasing him, and he's, like, trying to run away from him, blah, 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 and then he jumps over a log, and then a bunch of them, like, just jump on top of him. There's, like, 20 or 30 of them.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
And they're, like, these little tiny... They have, these little tiny mouths. So imagine getting eaten to death by, like, 30 different small predators.
Oh, that'd be terrible. They'd slowly eat your flesh away.
Yeah,
but now, which dinosaur would you want to be eaten
by? A T-Rex, because it would be like, ah!
It'd be over in a second.
It had the largest, like, jaw of any, you know, or, like, strongest bite force of any land animal ever. So, yeah, like, if a T-Rex, like, if I was the lawyer on the toilet, I'd be dead in, like, 2 seconds, you know? It'd be easy. Just, like, chomp right, like, crush my bones.
Alright, second bonus question.
Okay.
Which dinosaur is the cutest?
Parasaurolophus.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Good way to end it.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's it. Thanks for asking me the questions. Those were all...
It was fun.
I did... You had some really good ones. You threw me...
I thought so.
Threw me some curveballs there, you know? I mean, some good stuff there. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy, my little friend here, for making up all those questions.
Thanks for chatting with me.
Putting up with all this stuff. All the crap that I do on a daily basis. Thank you, Metroid, for filling in the middle part of the screen. And thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on. See, this is weird. Thank you for watching this. Goodbye, guys.
It was swell.
It was swell. It was wonderful, wasn't it? What's your favorite dinosaur?
Peace. Okay, Parasaurolophus, obviously.
Okay, peace. Bye, guys. Later.